happy people, it's good to be back. Today I'm going to bring you some awesome pumpkin DIYs. I started this project with one of these pumpkin signs from Dollar Tree. I disassembled it and painted it using orange, green, white, and a homemade brown using a mixture of gray and brown paint. I will have the exact paints that I used as well as all the other supplies listed in the description box below this video. Just a side note, I ended up spray painting the orange pieces with orange spray paint that I had in my stash because the acrylic paint that I initially was using was too transparent and I didn't want to think about doing a million coats of paint. Once everything was dry, I distressed the pieces with some sandpaper. I flipped the boards over, backside up, and glued on 2 jumbo popsicle sticks using a combination of E6000 and hot glue. I cut a strip of Dollar Tree burlap ribbon, hot glued it to the front, and placed the galvanized welcome sign on top. Next, I finished it off with a simple bow using Dollar Tree raffia and a leaf that I painted to match. For this project, I used one of those wood pumpkin cutouts from Dollar Tree and placed 2 strips of painter's tape horizontally across the pumpkin. Next, I filled the hole at the top with stainable wood filler. I then proceeded to stain the wood with a black wood stain. I removed the painter's tape and quickly realized that the taped off area looked way too wide, so I had to go back and I just made it smaller. No big deal. I also sanded off that nice little finger smudge that I made there, which also wasn't a big hassle. I grabbed more of this raffia that I used in the first project and decided to make another one of those cute little bows because I just really liked it. I had some of this Dollar Tree garland in my stash and I never really seemed to be able to use it, so I trimmed off 3 little pieces and curled them around the end of my brush. I hot glued the garland pieces to the base of the stem and then added the bow I made. Finally, I added one of those galvanized words from the Dollar Tree pack, and I chose to use the word thankful. For project number 3, I used another one of those wood pumpkin cutouts from Dollar Tree, as well as a wooden napkin holder, I think it is, also from Dollar Tree. I started the project by disassembling the napkin holder, which actually wasn't too difficult, but it was a little nerve-wracking. As you can see, I'm being a little delicate, and then I figured it out. I sanded the front of the large pumpkin and smoothed the edges of the smaller ones. I used this beautiful shade of blue to paint the first pumpkin. As I mentioned before, I usually write all the supplies for each project along with links to some of the products in the description box below. I painted the large pumpkin with white chalk paint. I felt the last pumpkin needed a little bit of texture, so I used my hot glue gun to paint on the ribs of the pumpkin before I painted it with a yellow chalk paint. After the white pumpkin was dry, I dry brushed around the edges and painted some ribs with just brown acrylic paint. I painted the stem with a mixture of gray and brown paint. This is one of my favorite shades of brown to use, and I used it on all 3 pumpkin stems. I've had this sign since I think last year when I made my farmhouse truck sign, but this arrow is the perfect size for this project, so I'm just going to put that to use. I sanded the glitter off and spray painted it white. I cut 3 more pieces of that Dollar Tree garland, but I didn't want the berries or whatever they are to be green, so I just painted them with that really pretty blue color. I printed out the words pumpkin patch on my printer, and I attempted to show you how I used the carbon paper before I had a Cricut, and so I could show you how well it works. However, I didn't have the correct pen and I didn't have time to deal with it, so in the end I painted over my mess and just used my Cricut to print out the wording. I'm so sorry for that, but sometimes life is crowded and time is just not on your side, right? So I did my best. Next, I assembled my creation using hot glue and some sunflower embellishments. I decided to add some buffalo check bows since I ran out of that Dollar Tree lace, but I did want to show you how cute the lace is anyway. I really wish I had more. The buffalo check ribbon looks nice too, but I definitely need to buy more lace. For this project, I grabbed a package of these wood pumpkins, and I wanted to use up another one of these signs that I got on clearance at Michael's and never used. Yes, I still have a couple more. I took 3 of the pumpkins and painted them all orange. And of course I forgot this step before I painted, but it really wasn't that big of a deal as soon as I remembered that I needed to paint the stems too. I got my sign, I cut my decal, and I applied my decal. I grabbed my jute string and wood beads and strung on 8 beads. I placed the painted pumpkins wrong side up and glued them to the jute string. I used my favorite handy dandy tool to drill 2 small holes in each side so that I could string my jute string through to the back. I really should have put a 2x4 or something behind this board because I was really nervous that I was going to drill a hole in my desk. That's why I'm doing this part so very slowly and cautiously. Once the holes were made, I taped the ends of the jute string and strung it through, then stapled the ends in place. And I didn't show this part, but I also noticed that the pumpkins were falling forward when I stood the sign upright, so I used a little dot of glue to secure them as I wanted them. As always, thank you for giving me a moment of your day. I really appreciate you very much. I hope you enjoyed these crafts. I might give a few of them away as they're starting to pile to the ceiling and I don't know what to do with them. So stay tuned and hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you know when I do that. I hope you have a lovely day. Bye.